नमः। ॐ नमोऽस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरुर्मूर्तिः पूजामूलं गुरुर्पदम् मंत्रमूलं गुरुर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरुकृपा। ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय, सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय, कृष्ण भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय। Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are in 5th chapter, 22nd sloka. Yesterday we saw just little, today we shall see elaborately with all analysis. ये ही संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुख योनया एवते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः। The enjoyments that are born of contacts are only generators of pain, for they have a beginning and an end. O Arjuna, the wise man doesn't rejoice in them. Sansparsaja, by contact with objects of what? Of senses. We have seen many times, yesterday also we saw a little how we get the knowledge and get some kind of little happiness and unhappiness both together by the senses which go out of the body, mind, and gets contact with the sense objects outside. So senses are 5 of knowledge, and they are the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue, and the skin for touch, tongue taste, nose smell, ears sound, and eyes the form. And mainly we are concerned with the sound name and related with the form. Eyes and ears are main instruments for the mind. So in this way, when the senses get contact with the sense objects outside, what happens then? It receives very little haphazard momentary informations of the object which outwardly only duplicate, means with the pairs of opposites. If you get little happiness, so unhappiness is just with it. You cannot avoid unhappiness. Where there is good, there is bad also. There is no object or subject or action anywhere in this world which is 100% perfect or imperfect. Both combined together constitutes this laws of nature and all the performance of the nature. In this way, if both are together, that depends upon degrees. Sometimes little intense happiness we may get, and similarly every action has opposite and equal reaction. So if you get little intense happiness, then afterwards in the end of it, intense pain is waiting for you to welcome you. That's how the great experienced seers and saints and sages, they have given us the warning. This world is a house of miseries only. Nowhere we can get permanent pleasure. Permanency is found in permanent. What is permanent? There we can find some little permanent happiness, and that is called bliss, not happiness, because it is beyond happiness and unhappiness both. Just as the neutral zone above the earth somewhere, where there is no day, no night, no attraction, no repulsion, nothing is there. In that way, from this contact of senses with their subjects or objects, they get little happiness, momentary. And after that we get pain only. So everywhere there is pain and pain, suffering and suffering. And that's how the world is said to be a house of miseries. Dukhalayam asasvatam. And they are, all these enjoyments are dukkha yonayaha. Dukkha yoni. They are born out of misery only. Because why? Dukkha yoni, why it is said dukkha yoni? Means it is born out of miseries only. What is called miseries? Ignorance is misery. Ignorance is the cause for all our miseries. What is ignorance? Absence of knowledge. What is absence of knowledge? What is absence of knowledge? Of course, we get some knowledge by contact. So, absence of knowledge means absence of full, complete knowledge. It is not haphazard knowledge. That means our momentary contact with the objects of the senses are haphazard knowledge, informative knowledge. It is not real knowledge. So it is comes under the family of ignorance only. Ignorance only. What do you know about the about Gangotri when you go and see just the idols of Gangaji in the temple for a minute, because now there will be so much rush. The Pandas will not allow you to stay there for a moment. Darshan ho gaya, chalo, chalo, chalo. They will give little prasad, go. So what knowledge do you get about Gangotri? Gangotri, full knowledge means one who remains there all over the year and knows everything about geographical, historical, climatical, and everything, ecological knowledge, thorough knowledge, one who stays there for a long time, and historical, all about the people, how do they behave, and all about the animals, birds, and the climate, how much it goes up. In Gangotri, you cannot believe. All of a sudden, the temperature goes to 45, above 45. And within 5 minutes, it will come down to 15 degrees. I have experienced this. Where 45, where is 15? In 5 minutes time. If a cloud comes, 45 comes down to 15. It may be also 5 degrees in winter days, because sky is so clear. If there is no wind and hot midday sun and clear sky, it goes up to 45. And little absence of sun comes down to 5 degrees. All of a sudden. So if you don't know this, what do you know about Gangotri? And how many types of herbs, minerals, animals, birds, plants, and what kind of soil you get there. What do you know about it? You just went for a minute and have a round on the temple and came down. I have seen Gangotri. Is this real knowledge? And even you don't know how much temperature of the Ganga Jal there. If you get deep there, then only you will understand. Touching the water will not give you full knowledge of its coldness. So all these haphazard knowledge, just momentary informative knowledge. This is not called knowledge. This is what happens when we see something, hear something haphazardly, momentary. We don't know anything about what to speak of others. You don't know anything about you. What is the city, capital city of America?
Washington.
Yes. And where is your heart? No, here. Do you know about your palpitation?
No.
How much for a minute it should be normally? What is the temperature of body normally?
27 degrees.
20
7.
degrees.
Yes.
And Fahrenheit?
98.
Acha. And what happens when a person dies, at that time, what will be the temperature?
That I don't know.
What happens in high fever?
The temperature goes up.
How much?
If it
What is the
90,
limit?
limit is 105, not more than. I have not seen more than that.
Okay, something. How do you know? Do you know anything about working system of kidneys?
Yes.
What does it do?
It purifies the all. Whatever body does not need, it throws out the waste.
So what does the heart do?
Heart pumps the blood.
Pumps only.
Yes, it also.
The same thing is done by heart also.
Yes.
How many chambers are there in the heart?
4.
Is it? Oh, little anatomy he knows. Of course, what is the capital of body?
Brain.
What about heart? What about ear? Can the brain work without the heart?
No.
So how is it capital? Anyway, we know very little about our own body. You know your name?
Yes.
Who named you?
That I do not know.
Do you know your great-grandfather's name?
No.
But you know about the capital of England and USA and India,
Yes.
and that you have crammed.
Because we get marks.
Yes, only to get some marks in GK. This is how it is called haphazard knowledge. It is not called real knowledge. It comes under the ignorance family. You belong to the family of ignorance only. Do you know, before you, in the morning when I will look at that front high mountain, what is behind it?
No.
But you know about Newark, isn't it? What is the population of Washington?
I don't know.
What is the population of your family? No. Population of family. So many things we never know not to, we are not interested in knowing it. We have no time to know all this. In this way, all these knowledge are only haphazard, temporary and informative, and it has always growth or decay. We forget, we get new knowledge every moment. So the knowledge is which is constant. So this is how the senses, if contacted with the objects, whatever knowledge we get, that is only for miseries, not for real happiness, not for real happiness. Adyantavantah it, you get it, and after a moment it ends there. O Arjuna, natesu ramate buddha. The wise man never entertain in it. They don't care for all these informative knowledge. What for they care? They care for the real, constant, never changing knowledge. What is that? Never changing.
Never.
Have you tasted honey?
Yes.
When? When did you taste it? Say few days ago.
Few days ago.
Okay. Now if you will taste honey again, will it change?
No.
That is called experiential knowledge. It is one with you. One with you. So that never changes. And if I taste also honey, the same experience I get, which I cannot express to you, nor you can express to me.
Yes.
How does honey taste? Come on. Use your best language.
It tastes sweet. This is the basic description.
Does it taste like sugar cane juice?
Yes.
Yes. Does it taste like sugar syrup?
Yes.
So what it is?
Hmm.
Sugar cane juice or sugar syrup?
Hmm.
How it can change?
They can't say.
This way, it is subject to change. But experiential knowledge cannot change. We cannot express it exactly, 100%. We express it haphazardly. Man goes in quest of joy and searches in the external perishable objects for his happiness. He falls to get it, but he fails to get it, but instead of happiness, he carries a load of sorrow on his head. You should withdraw the senses from these sense objects, as there is no trace of happiness in them, and fix the mind on the immortal, blissful self within. Where is the self? Does the self come to the brain headquarters?
No.
So if the president is not available in headquarters, so how is it president? Anyway, the self abides in the core of your heart, and this physical heart is not the real heart. The sense objects have a beginning and an end. Separation from these sense objects. Separation from these sense objects gives you a lot of pain. We want to have contact continuously, which never happens. During the interval between the origin and the end, you experience a hollow, momentary, illusory pleasure. This fleeting pleasure is due to avidya or ignorance. Ignorance means not complete, full, constant knowledge, experiential knowledge. That is called experience. That is called vidya, and all others are avidya, ignorance. Even in the other world, you will have the same experience. Other world after death, in the subtler worlds. After the death, when the soul travels in those subtle realms, there also he experiences same thing. pain and pleasure both. So that is how we name it as hell and heaven. Heaven is of 100 types and hell also of so many types. You know about hell?
Yes.
Shall I tell you?
Yes, a little bit.
Yes, he knows.
Ye- Yes. How does it look?
That I don't know.
Huh?
That I don't know.
That's had you been to hell sometimes?
No.
Then how did you know it? So, this is how in the subtler realms the soul enjoys same thing, just as gross world. Pain and pleasure both. He who is endowed with discrimination or the knowledge of the self will never rejoice in the sensual objects. Only ignorant persons who are passionate will rejoice in these sense objects, and passionate people are known as ignorant people. शक्नोति एव जः सोढुं प्राक् शरीर विमोक्षणात् काम क्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः. Then opposite to it, who is really happy? He is giving the indications of a happy man. Have you heard the story of a happy man? Huh? I have told several times in Yoga Vasit class for him. Do you know the story of a happy man?
No.
There was a king. He had everything with him and so much wealth. King he is, so he will have all kinds of enjoyments and all the wealth in his treasury. And yet he was unhappy always. Something he wanted, he didn't know what do I need. But always he was unhappy. So the ministers were very much concerned and they were very much worried what to do with this king. Everything is there. Physically he is okay, but he is never happy. So they called for many kinds of doctors, vaidyas, and mantrabit, those who know mantras or tantras, many kinds of doctors they called for, and many kinds of doctors came and examined the king. And the king had a vow, one who will cure me will be rewarded so much with gifts, but who will not cure me, I will behead him. Many doctors came and lost their lives. In the end, some old man comes to the king. "Oh king, can I examine you? Are you a doctor?" "Yes, of course, people say like that. If you don't cure me, see the situation, what happens to the doctors." "Never mind, I am old man, I am ready to die. But can I examine you?" The king says, "Okay, come on." So he comes to him, pretends to, he was a psychologist and he knew everything about the king. So he just pretended to see his pulsations and everything. And then he kept quiet for a moment and he was thinking something to show. I am thinking over the medicine. And then in the end he says, "O king, I got the medicine." If you can wear a shirt of a happy man only for a night, all your disease will be cured. A shirt of a happy man only for a night, all your disease will vanish. Can you? So the king said, "Okay, I shall search for it." He called his messengers and sent them all over the kingdom. The messengers tried their level best, going everywhere, each corner and nook and corner. They were searching for a happy man. Nowhere they could see a happy man. Everybody is worried. See, I am a old monk. I have passed my 60s, almost 65 years of Mahatma life. Last night I could not sleep out of orage. I could not help my mind. And of course with great difficulty I overcome the tears. Some case happened. That's why we stopped the morning class today. The mood is off. Why? Such a situation where I am concerned in, it is unavoidable. I don't care for my physical origin, but I cannot see somebody dear and near to me in hard trouble. I cannot see it. Anyhow, so everybody under the sun is unhappy only. Rarely you will find one among billions who is really happy within and without. So the people who are searching for a happy man, nowhere they could get such man, and they were returning. All of a sudden, few messengers, they saw a poor farmer was plowing his field, and he was almost nude, having little half gamcha over his body, and he was dancing and laughing and plowing and singing. So the messenger thought, this person may be happy because he is singing and dancing. They went to him. "Are you happy, O man?" He shouted, "Yes, I am happy." So they were so happy to get him. "Yes, I am happy. What can make me unhappy?" So this messenger said, "Oh great one, we were searching for you only. Can you lend your shirt for one night? Whatever you demand, we will pay. The king wants it only for a night. Whatever you demand, it will be paid." So the farmer went on laughing loudly. "Are fools! Had I have a shirt, I would not have so happy. I would have taken care of I would be worried about the shirt which is dirty. I have to clean it and keep it safely. I have nothing in this world. That's why I am happy." "You have not a shirt?" "No, that's why I am happy." He shouted, roared like a lion. "I have nothing in this world. That's why I am happy." So the messengers came back and reported to the king, and the king was astonished. Oh, such a man is there in our kingdom. I want to see him. Go and bring him before me. Somehow or other persuade him and bring him here. I want to see him. So he was brought to the court, and the king asked, are you happy, O man? Yes. What is the clue of your happiness? That I don't know. Have you not a sword? No, I have nothing in this world. I don't think for tomorrow. Today I have taken food. I don't think for tomorrow. I don't accumulate things for tomorrow. How can I be happy if I would have a sword? Oh, thank you, O happy man. The king understood. Then afterwards, he started distributing all his wealth into the subjects. And a day came when the king had nothing. And then he felt so much happy. Oh, really? This is the real happiness. When nothing I have. There is a saying in Hindi, जिसका कोई नहीं इस जग में उसका नंद कन्हैया तू. हाँ जी. One who has no support in this world, he is supported by the God. He is the happy man. And from all sides, at all time, by all means, when he becomes unhappy, the whole nature comes forward to help him. There cannot be any cause for such a man to be unhappy. This is the key of happiness. This is named as King's Cure, the story. King's Cure. So this is how the wise men never enjoy the worldly objects, mundane enjoyments. They are ever aloof from all these enjoyments, and they never think of it. And why it happens, how it happens, to whom it happens. One who is ever moored in the bliss of the self within. He never can think of the world, nor he will enjoy in the worldly pleasures. This is how the wise man never enjoy in such enjoyments which has a starting and an end. Saknoti ehi vajah sodhum prak sarira vimokshanat kama krodhodbhavam begam sajuktaha sasukhi nara. And for such a man there will be some indications. How can we know such a man who is ever happy? He who is able, while still here in this world, to withstand, to bear, to resist all kinds of force of Kam and Krodha, before the liberation from the body, before he leaves this body. This point is most important. We have to understand it to its letters. Before the liberation from the body, the impulse born out of desire and anger. He is a yogi, he is a happy man, real happy man. What happens at the end of your body, when the subtle body leaves this gross body and tries to go out of it and enters into the subtler realms, it is directed by the previous force of your whole life, whatever you have done and whatever impressions you have accumulated. Just as a student writes in the exam hall whatever he has learned all the year, that comes in the end for you to help you. How much you cram before night, you will forget it. If one hyphen or comma is forgotten, all your answer is wrong. That by hurting in 2 minutes never can help you. But whatever you have done throughout the year, that will surely help you. Similarly, whatever you have done in the whole life, and all the impressions are stored in your subconscious mind, that is never destroyed, nor it can be destroyed at any cost. That essence of it comes out as a force to give you a momentum in the other world. So that is most important. We shall discuss it in elaborate way in 8th chapter. What happens to the soul at the time of departure? What will be the condition of the soul? So, now we have understood the last thought is prompted, or it is the essential tendency of your past whole life. That will give you a momentum and that will give you directions. It will go ahead. You have to follow it. You cannot be diverted from its guidance. That is our life. So in the subtler world and life afterwards, everything is directed by the past. Present is the result of the past. And future also depends upon the present. In the relative world, we have to be concerned with our past and present and future, all the 3 periods of time. But the spiritual practitioners are advised not to think of the past nor future. The present is real life, which is balanced and not influenced by the past and future. So is it not contradicted to my saying just now? I said the present is the result of the past, and now I am saying present is unconcerned about the past and future. Is it contradictory or it is the same? It has the same meaning.
Welcome to the world of paradox.
Pardon?
Welcome to the world of paradox.
Para?
Paradox.
Acha? See, of course, all your past gives a momentum to create the present. Okay? And the future also is dependent on present. The present will give a start for the future. This is how we are dependent on past, future, and of course present. And do you know what is called present? Nobody knows what is present. The moment you think of the present, it has passed. So it is, really speaking, analytically, the present is nothing but the gap between past and future. This is for a thoughtful man, not for ordinary man. The life of an ordinary man is different from life of the thoughtful man. One who thinks of everything perfectly, contemplates over whatever he does. That's how it is said, think 10 times before you do something. This is the saying, think before you do. The examiners also, when they distribute the question papers to the students in the exam hall, they don't fail to say one to the students, go through the questions thoroughly well, twice, thrice, before you answer. This is the process. It is a warning. So, one should think thoroughly well what is the meaning of present. Present is never seen by anyone, but only really one which is very much concerned about the present and who is one-pointed in thinking and who is clear in his thinking. He can understand little about the present. Present is nothing but the gap between the past and future. Time has no real feature, no definition. The changing phenomena is called time. And we calculate it somehow or other and then understand what is time. What is time now? 9:15. How do you know it without counting?
No.
What is time now? It is night time. When you count the day and it has passed, then only it is night. Every moment we count to understand what is time. That is not the real understanding. Time is ever changing and ever repeating. Everything repeats again and again in a cycle. That is called time, and that is called mind also. That is called your life also. That is called everything. So the whole world is under the clutches of time. Samaya bada balavan re. This is how it is strongest of all, controls all. Your mind is nothing but time. Your sans, breathing, is nothing but time. Your body is nothing but time. So in this way, time controls the whole universe, whole creation. And beyond it, there is a state of equilibrium which is beyond time, where there is no counting, no change. In this way, time we have to understand as a changing phenomena. Change means there will be two, one after the other. Then only we can count and then only it can change. So in between the gap between the one and two, that is called present. The gap between the two is known as present. So that's how One who knows that really one, he lives in present, and that is real life, unchanging. And that is not dependent on past and future. But for a common man, he is bound to be dependent on past and future. Nobody we see who never knows about the past and future. We have all the knowledge. Everything is stored in our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind knows also about the future, because future is the result of the past and present. Present for ordinarily, not the real present. One real present and another is unreal present, haphazard, overflowing present, superficial present. In this way, the present is not dependent, and from outward understanding, present is dependent on past and future. Both are same. One is for common ordinary people, and the other is for very higher class of people who never think of past and future. So now it is time, tomorrow is time. Tomorrow we shall see further. On this only, this stanza only, he who is able, while still here in this world, means in this body, to withstand before the liberation from the body, the impulse from burnout of desire and anger. We have to understand what is desire, how it is grown, and how everybody is servant to our his desires, and what is called anger or kama. Kama is not only anger, not only lust, not only desires, it changes. If you say it is desire, desire changes every moment. And when one is fulfilled, it gives rise to several others. So desires are also ever growing, and they take different forms, sometimes lust, sometimes anger. In this way, the kama means desire. If you understand, it has got many forms. The same desire, when it is not fulfilled and obstructed, it changes its form to the anger. And when it is intensified, it changes its form to lust. Love and lust has sometimes some similarity, and sometimes it is totally different from each other. Love is impartial, unexpecting love, where only sacrifice is there, no expectation is possible there. So that love is pure, pure love, and impure love is which has expectations and which is subject to senses, mind, intellect, etc. And pure love is not subject to all this. It is from heart to heart, heart to heart. That is called pure love. And that love is very dear to the God. Bhavagrahi, and he is the most innermost of all. So he is worth loving. And others are Sura Nar Nag Sab Kai Riti, Swarath Lagi Kare Sab Priti. All the love of the worldly people are concerned with their expectation. For their own self, they love others. Why do I like children? I get a kind of enjoyment. I play with them. That is my selfishness. That's why I love children. Without selfishness, nobody can love others in this world. Suranaranaga. And who loves other without any expectation? Ram hi keval prema pyara, jani lehu jo jana nihara. He knows the real love, who knows Ram to be real lover. Without expectation, he loves his devotees. The God never expects some smelly flowers from you. He expects only your heart, your feelings. And do you know where God abides eternally? Do you know? No. That is, of course, yes, but his eternal abode is in the water, in the ocean. Isn't it? पानी ही जिंदगी है और पानी में नारायण बसते हैं. So that water is a little salty, isn't it? But God abides in Kshir Sagar, sweet water. And have you tasted your tears? Namkeen, for sweet tears also is there. That doesn't come from this end of the eyes, from this end. And that is called tears of love, ecstasy. God abides there in that ocean, perennial flow of that tear. That is called the Kshir Sagar. He is eternally present there. He loves the lover's tears. भक्तनों के जो प्रेम के आंसू, तिनक मुलक में न मोल न तोल. If you put one drop of that love tear on one pan of the balance, and if you put all the pleasures of the whole three worlds on the other pan, that becomes lighter than this one drop of tear. Tinako mulak mein na mol na tol. There where the dearest God abides all the time. One who cannot weep for God, he cannot become a Vedanti, damn for his knowledge of Vedanta. So we shall see tomorrow how to overcome these two and why, how and why at the time of leaving this body. How and why. Tomorrow we shall see. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamasisyate. Om Santi Santi Santi. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय. कृष्ण भगवान की जय, गीता माता की जय।
राम ही एक प्यारा, खोज लिया मैंने जग सारा।
हरि ओम। Do you love your mother?
Yes.
What for?